Stop studying. You are wasting your time. If you're studying the way most students do, you're probably wasting 80% of your time and you don't even realize it. Ever spent hours cramming only to forget everything in the exam? Most students learn how to study the right way too late. But by the time you finish this video, you'll know how to study effectively and save yourself years of frustration. Imagine you're trying to fill a bucket with water, but there are holes everywhere. No matter how much you pour in, most of it leaks out. Frustrating, right? Well, that's exactly what most students do when they study. They spend hours trying to absorb information, but their brains don't retain much of it. And the worst part, they don't even realize it's happening. Now, let's talk about the biggest mistakes that are making your study sessions almost useless. Mistake 1, highlighting and rereading. Most students think highlighting their textbooks and rereading notes will help them remember the material. But here's the shocking truth. Studies show that rereading has a retention rate of only 10%. That means if you reread a chapter today, by next week, you'll forget 90% of it. It feels productive because your brain recognizes the words on the page, but recognition is not the same as understanding or memorization. Think about it. If you keep watching the same movie over and over, does that make you an expert on filmmaking? No, you're just getting familiar with the story. And that's exactly what happens with passive rereading. Mistake 2, cramming last minute. Let's be real. We've all crammed for a test at some point, staying up all night, drinking way too much coffee, and stuffing information into our brains like it's a suitcase we're sitting on just to close. But cramming doesn't work long term. Sure, you might remember some of it for the test tomorrow, but within a few days, most of that information is gone. Poof! Here's why. Your brain treats crammed information like junk mail. It throws it away because it knows you don't really need it. You're just forcing it in without giving your brain a reason to hold on to it. And if you think, well, I only need to remember it for the test, here's a hard truth. The students who actually master the material will always outperform you in the long run, whether it's in class, in college, or in their careers. Mistake 3, studying passively. Another massive mistake, studying passively, meaning you just read, watch, or listen without actually doing anything with the information. Imagine you want to learn how to swim. Would you read a book about swimming and then jump into a pool expecting to be an expert? Of course not. You drown. Yet, when it comes to studying, most students do exactly that. They read the textbook, watch a lecture, and assume they've learned the material. But unless you engage with the information by testing yourself, teaching it to someone else, or practicing, it won't stick. Now that you know these mistakes, how do you actually study the right way? That brings us to the game-changing shift. Studying isn't about how much time you spend. It's about how much you retain. Some students study for 3 hours and forget everything the next day. Others study for 1 hour and remember most of it for life. Most people treat studying like mindless repetition, but real learning happens when your brain is actively challenged, when it struggles, when it makes connections, and when it retrieves information on its own. This is where retention greater than consumption. Instead of mindlessly consuming information, you need to focus on retaining it in a way that actually sticks. The learning pyramid, the key to studying smarter. Let me show you something called the learning pyramid. This one simple concept can change the way you study forever. At the bottom of the pyramid, we have reading. This has a retention rate of only 10%, meaning if you just read your textbook, you're forgetting 90% of it. Next, we have lectures. When you sit in class and listen to a teacher talk, you retain about 20%. Now, let's go higher. Watching demonstrations. That's about 30% retention.